Hello everyone, watch this review here with a look at Ace from the SH Figuarts line. Ace, of course, is a character from the hit anime/manga One Piece, and the box really reflects that in terms of art. Now, I'm impressed by that just because the SH Figuarts line isn't specifically devoted to One Piece or One Piece characters. In fact, before this, I believe it was mostly just Kamen Rider stuff, so the fact that they go all out on this, is definitely a sign of quality, so forth. And you will notice that even the fonts and stuff do look like what you would see in the manga. For those of you not familiar with the SH Figuarts line, not to be confused with the normal Figuarts line, which is a line of static, non-articulate figures, it's basically on the 5-inch scale, and it's kind of like Good Smile's Figma line or Kyoto's Revoltech line, both of which are better known. All of whom basically use kind of the same conventions in terms of I guess they call them revolver joints for some lines, but in addition to also having interchangeable parts like different faces and different hands and everything. But enough about that. Let's get this one out of the box. Now, the other cool aspect of the packaging that I didn't go into is the fact they actually have a window on the top of the box as well. Plus, all across the box they have the little symbols of the Jolly Roger for Whitebeard's crew, of which Ace belongs, as opposed to the Straw Hat Pirates, which the other characters, the main characters, are a part of. Now this comes with a set of instructions. The insert in the back is removable for some reason. I don't know why. Maybe it's just cheaper than making the package that way. It's an interesting touch. And in terms of accessories, we have 4 sets of hands. Bottom ones are both open. These ones both have a finger that's protruding flame. Looks like fingers out, 2 fingers out here. Then we have a ton of flame accessories because he's a fire-based user who got his powers from the Mera or fire fruit. The devil's fruits. And on the back, we just have his base. He also comes with 2 alternate faces, although this one looks more like an alternate head, where he's eating a fish. This one where he's angry, as well as a hat and a dagger and a necklace. Of course, what the figure doesn't come with is a good way to store all this stuff, although I guess you can just fit it back into the plastic container and then pop that back into the box, so, Now, this is a little bit taller than I thought. I believed it would be the same height as, say, Revoltechs and Figmas, but it looks like it might be a small bit taller. But I'm going to have to go back and make a really in-depth comparison, then I'll annotate that. This, of course, is the Armored Saber, the first of the Figmas, I believe. But she's probably distracting you, so let's move her out of the way and take a closer look here at Ace. Now, Ace is Luffy's adopted older brother, and everything about this character is spoiler-tastic, especially if you've been following the more recent plot stuff. Although I guess it happened a while ago in the manga. In the anime, I believe it's just getting up to there for the subbed. But there's a really cool paint wash on this that kind of has I guess the flesh tone's a little bit different. It reminds me greatly of what they actually used in the manga when they actually colored the pages in, which is a nice touch, but that's completely different from what we saw in the anime, because the anime used more solid tones. But it's definitely something else, something a little bit cool. Let me give you a quick run-through of articulation just before I get into all the accessories and start commenting on all the other stuff. When I earlier compared him to the Revoltech and Figma line, I guess it really doesn't qualify because the articulation is in fact considerably different. Now, whereas they typically have rounded joints, which they call revolver joints, he looks like he's more on hinges, and then just some more stuff that you'd associate with Western lines. But here at the wrist we have just a point of rotation. Of course, the hands are removable. They should just pop out, but we actually need to look at that just to make sure how to pop them out right so I don't break the stupid thing. Now we have a single joint here at the elbow. Now, nicely enough, we don't actually see the peg. I mean, I would assume it's probably like a pin joint, but the pin isn't actually exposed, which is a really cool touch. However, the ball-jointed shoulder, well, actually the point of rotation at the bicep there, kind of gives him a jointier look, so it breaks off a little bit. Now the arm itself is on a ball joint, but it also pulls out a bit. So there's a second joint right here. Very nice touch because that allows him to get a lot of additional posing room. Of course, it doesn't look all that great when the joint's fully extended, but whatever. Head is on a really loose ball, in addition to having actual articulation at the neck area, I believe. Well, I mean, I can't really get it, but it looks like it is a separate piece. Now we have upper torso movement. Kind of impeded just due to the sculpt itself, but, you know, pretty neat. In addition to having another sort of ball-jointed area down there at the waist, so... Now, so far, very cool amounts of articulation. And you can really get a lot of the upper torso into cool poses. At the leg, we have just a standard kind of ball joint. You can see it's a physical ball. And at the knee, another single joint. Again, the pin isn't exposed, but I mean, the way the system works, it looks like you have a little plastic piece here that connects directly into this other piece, and then the stuff on the sides isn't really attached at all, so I'm just worried possibly about breakage, but, you know, that's something I'll have to figure out later. Then we have a physical ball down here at the ankle, which has something of a pivot. I'm not sure if it's a huge amount of pivot, but it looks pretty sizable. Yeah. So, I mean, there's definitely a lot of articulation on this, which is really impressive. And it looks like he won't have any real trouble standing or for poses, just because we have such a high amount of articulation. Ankle pivots, and I believe the center of gravity is pretty solid, but I'm going to have to really mess around with this one a lot to figure out how to best get the action poses going on. Although, assuming, you know, I can't get him standing, or I might want him in flying poses, we do have this extra base here with, I'll stand with all these little parts. I'm not even going to try to assemble this because it looks like it might take a while, but I imagine you can get some pretty good jumping poses. Let's quickly check out some of the accessories on the figure. Starting with this little flame thingy, which I believe plugs into one of the other hands. So yeah, you'll notice that there are two little prongs here, so I believe either hand can fit the little fireball in there, although can't get to stay quite right. And wham! He's using a finger gun. Fearsome. In addition, we have all these little bits of flame, which all have really cool sculpts, and although they're sort of translucent, it looks like they actually have different colors as well. You can see a kind of yellowish tinge that sort of deepens into a red towards the ends. This is just really, really awesome. I mean, I can't even describe that any other way. It looks like this is actually some sort of a creature, too. I don't know. Kind of, the bigger ones, I believe, attached to the sides of the figure, like if he's protruding some flame from his legs or hips or wherever. Of course, I'm not sure what the point of that is, but, you know, I guess it just looks pretty damn cool. Still gotta figure out how the center of balance really works effectively. Oh, he has toe joints. Totally missed the toe joints, they just really fit in there. So yeah, this is why I usually don't review blind. Now, to get the arm flame on, we just need to take off his, I guess, fist here. Now, I'm going to do it by just pushing it to the side, which pops it off the ball. There's probably a better way to do it. I really don't feel like looking for the better way right now, though. And then we slide that on. And wham! It's about to fire punch. Which of course also really makes more sense that we have flames spouting on this one side, because it's like half of his body is turning to fire at once. And the character, of course, can turn his full body into flame. So, very nice. Now you can also remove his head to put on his necklace, which I don't really feel like doing right now. And then you also have the hat, which isn't as painstaking of a process. It just slips right onto the head. And now he's got his hat on. Never really liked that hat. There it goes. So yeah, I mean, all in all, a very cool figure. A ton of accessories, which can keep you busy with posing him, especially with his little stand there. Now you will notice that he doesn't have an actual peg, so far as I can see, to pop the joint in, but it looks like it's one of those circular ones that pops around the waist or whatever. Interestingly enough, I didn't really notice this, but there's this small weird circle here in the back of the Whitebeard symbol, so I'm not sure what that's actually for, but it's sort of into the plastic. And tactfully enough, Bandai has put the branding information right on his lower back. It's in the same yellow, well, it's in a yellow color, so it kind of blends in with the flesh tone, but yeah, placement-wise, it's kind of tacky, but I guess they just wanted to give us nicer treads on his boots or whatever, so I guess it's forgivable. Also, by the way, if you're trying to figure out where that dagger goes, it attaches right here. It doesn't look like it comes out from the scabbard. It looks like one solid piece of plastic, so, you know, that's about all it'll do. Not that I'm terribly upset about that, mind you. All in all, you know, just really neat item. I mean, his figure line is pretty cool. The only downside is, being that it's an import, it's going to be a little bit on the more expensive side, just because the dollar doesn't trade so favorably these days. Now, generally these things start retailing for, I think it's around 2,500 yen, but some retailers will be cheaper. I, of course, actually only picked him up for 500 yen back when Ami was having a sale, and I tossed him onto an order I already had going, so I also saved a bit on shipping. But I mean, definitely it's a really kind of cool sort of fringe item. You know, certainly has a attention to quality and everything, although, you know, one or two minor issues. So far, the line only has Ace, Luffy, and I believe Nami, but I'm not sure which other characters will be coming out in the future. Although, I mean, you can probably expect all of the Straw Hat crew, in addition to probably Shanks and... well, I guess those are pretty much the really big primary characters, so, you know, something to definitely look forward to. Personally, I'm not sure how many of these I will pick up at full retail, but I'll definitely be on the lookout just in case I can get them for a bit cheaper, because these are really, really neat, and I do happen to like the show, although, you know, haven't really followed it in quite a while. But, yeah, that's been a look at the SH Figuarts Ace. Until next time, folks. Quick update. Figured I'd just quickly explain how the whole face change thing works, but basically the hair, which is a softer rubber, pops up, revealing a little peg here for the hair to go back in. Then you simply pull the face out, just like you would on, say, Reveltech or Figma. Of course, it's going to have a little effort here. And bam, you just pop another one in. Such as the angry slash kind of, I guess, arrogant face. Just plugs right in. Pop the hair back on. And yes, it will take a little effort when you're first doing stuff like this, but there you have it. He looks completely angry slash crazy or whatever, and honestly, it's a much cooler look for the character, especially when you're trying to go for a combat pose.